Naruto, 638 viewer comments. I still like my idea that Obito's really dead and Madara's going to show him that he's dead little Obito body and he's some kind of monstrosity. But nobody is buying that theory, and it's probably not correct anyhow, but it's fun to think of. Alright, moving on. First thing is pointed out. I'm going to jump around a little bit here. Read a section of Conley Bob 9's. As for Madara's trump card, okay, getting right to it, I wonder if it might have to do with Obito left eye. The way Kakashi's mind is affected by Obito's eye. Maybe Madara has something set in his left eye to trap him. Okay, the whole thing about Itachi programming his eyes to attack Obito. So programming eyes to do something is a real thing that can happen. Not only can you do it with your own eyes, but Shishu's eye, remember, the crow, you can actually program someone else's eyes to automatically do something. Now, the only thing, and DT Ninja actually says something really close to what you just said, calling Bob 9, and a few people, but you two in particular, really brought it up. I would have thought the first thing would have been resurrect me. Okay, if I was Madara, that's what I would have programmed that eye. You see me, you resurrect me back to real life. Done story. But evidently that is not it. Okay, unless he has to give a command word or something, which I think he kind of already would have given. Now, from reading from what it says in there, Madara says he might get ahead of me before I'm able to play my trump card. Now, running around the forums quite a bit, what I found was people did bring up some interesting things. It could be a relic. It could be some kind of relic that we evidently we've already seen. The relics are there. It could be something we haven't heard of, a relic we haven't heard of, an eye power we haven't heard of. But it also could be an ability of his Susanoo that we haven't seen before, that Madara could do something. And this is a souped up Madara. Also, speaking of trump cards, okay, he could trump Obito, all right, and then Ochomaru, because he created him really through Kabuto, and he's got the mark on his neck, and I believe, and the whole 9 yards, that he can end up trumping him. The only thing is there's the prophecy of the Sage of the Sixth Path, which they all need to come back together, and all the Jubies will be reformed, which I'm saying pretty much every week now. But that's was it 572? I believe that was the chapter. So yeah. All right, now let's go ahead, and I'm going to start reading from the beginning. I'm going to skip a little bit past. It starts getting into a conversation about who is the bigger victim. You know, Obito, Kakashi. It kind of goes back and forth. Well, like I said, it kind of loses my interest, to be perfectly honest. There's some good points, but at a certain point, you know, any conversation that gets with, you know, goes to who's a bigger victim, I'll just be honest, I start losing, you know, I start losing interest. Just the way it is. All right, now let's start off with Obito, and then W Order for Life responds, which kind of, I think, helps get this thing rolling. Obito, Uchiha. Yeah, I'm not dead. I'm fully fused with the Jubi. We are one. The trump card is the seal of the Sage of the Sixth Path, similar to Hashirama's Jinchuriki seal. And then NW Order for Life responds, I don't think Madara will be able to use that against you. Once you get your sanity back, it will be lights out for that fool. P.S. Try to kill more shinobi. It makes fans like you. This is true. People want to see the death thing is kind of Kishimoto's left. He's left all these mysteries. He's kept us so engaged that we kind of keep forgetting the whole death count. But then we got more people running around. The whole Edo thing. So nobody's dying, and people keep coming back. So it's a pretty crowded area. And let's see. Michael Gethman. I really want to hear what the Jubi has to say to Naruto now that it has a person to speak through. It is interesting to think that you could be components of you could have individuals then form again, and that'd be like that'd be a different person. It's kind of wild. What I see from this chapter is that the Jubi will now go on a focused rampage and kill a lot of ninja. I really like how OP the Jubi appears to be now, and I can't wait to see Madara's trump card. I really want the action to pick up again and see Madara's attempt to take over the world. Keep reviewing, Steve. I'd love to hear your thoughts on these chapters every week. Hey, I appreciate it, and it's everyone's comments that keep this thing really interesting. Like I said, I learn a lot from your comments, so this is awesome. But I do appreciate kind words. Thank you. All right, and let's see, that's a response there. And Obito was going Juubito the whole time. Madara thought he was manipulating him into casting the Rain Tensei, but Obito was finding his control, and he played Madara like a boss. It was interesting that Naruto is the one. He's the Bijou expert now. He knew the seal. So it was interesting that it was really weird that it came from him, this knowledge. That was crazy. That was crazy. But that's also something to keep us in mind, that Naruto, his ability, he's really linked into the Bijous. Let's not forget that part. He's a powerful guy, big time. It was only a matter of time until he regains his sanity, and then he'll make all his enemies feel real terror and despair. Madara's trump card will fail. Obito isn't losing control of the Jubi's power, and he won't be able to manipulate Madara either. Okay, so the thing is let's see, how am I going to say this? All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and move on from this, and then bring this up just here a little bit. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Obito Uchiha. A lot of true statements here. I was a corpse. This is from Obito Uchiha himself. Sort of. Beat that, and then I was experimented on and left in a dark cave for a year with freaks corrupted by a sick old man. Meanwhile, Kakashi became the village hero using my eyeball. All true. All absolutely true, Obito. Absolutely. And then, like I said, it kind of goes into who's the bigger victim kind of deal here. Janisorf, and then Kakashi gets thrown in here as a bigger victim. Yeah, Obito wasn't left alone his whole childhood and never found his father's corpse at age 7, and it all goes in here. And I mean, if we wanted to just pull this together and say who's the bigger victim, we could all come up with, but they're all messed up. I mean, these are just ridiculously messed up people. So with horrible childhoods, but it still comes off as Obito still comes off kind of. But now I don't know. It becomes, once people suffer to a certain point. Okay, anybody, and they've all whatever you would consider needed to get sympathy or whatever, they've all already suffered beyond that threshold. So just but anyway, like I said, I start losing interest in the whole who's a bigger victim deal, to be perfectly honest. And and then NW Order for Life at some point states that I deleted something from Janisorf, which I didn't. So I don't know what that was about. But you guys seem to be having, like I say, everybody's respecting each other. I don't see a problem, and I didn't delete Janisorf's comment. So to kind of answer that, but there's a lot of back and forth, and I didn't do that, and a lot of. There's some discussion, and talking about there not being aggressive. It's an interesting deal between Janisorf and NW Order for Life, but like I say, it's mainly similar stuff, and both agreeing that they're not arguing really that much. But it's a lot of comments, and so I'm just actually going to skip over that. Sorry. And let's see, Davey MC993, nice review. You've considered reading One Piece. By the way, is Yamato still alive? There's so many possibilities out there. And is he still alive? Yeah. I think Kakashi forgot about the poor guy. 7 years later, another masked man attacked Naruto. Okay, now it's Yamamoto's turn to put on the mask. That's been done before. Also, yeah, there's a couple other things, but I'm going to go ahead and skip that. But anyway, Chaz Malakine, you got a couple entries. Here's one. Nice chapter. Yes, this was part 2 of the previous chapter. The main villain isn't Toby. This is a decoy for what's to come. I know this is the most powerful a chapter can become, but it's to hide the fact that someone's planning for this to happen. Madara's statement and Uchimuru's calmness about this war is worrying me about the route that this will take. I will post a prediction next week about what will happen soon. Good review and keep up the good work. And I know that you actually make another post on here too, which I will absolutely read. One thing that was disappointing to me about the comments, which really the only thing, the comments are awesome. It was just most people really didn't go at the Trump card, which that was the only thing I was disappointed about. I was hoping, and that was another reason that, you know, some of the longer discussions that have happened over I'm skipping, they're not really about the main thing now, the Trump card. So some of the discussion kind of gone, you know, it's interesting stuff, but it's still kind of, you know, stuff that we've already really covered for the most part. But anyway, Mr. Marcus, wow, Juubito, he's on a rampage. But what is so surprising is Naruto having some kind of connection to Juubito. Could this mean that the Sage of the Sixth Path will be revealed soon? Madara has a trump card, or is he really calling Juubito's bluff? Can't wait until next week, because I'm really loving this Kishimoto is doing right now. Great review, Steve. Appreciate it, Mr. Marcus. Alright. That might be pushing it, but theoretically speaking, if Uchimaru was to... This was Jazz0114, by the way. If Uchimaru was to somehow take over the Jubi's body, would he be in complete control of the power? That may actually be stretching it, but it would be pretty cool to see nevertheless. The possibilities Kishimoto has is just, and all these other wild cards you saw us floating around, it's just crazy. G. Gorsey, Hashirama openly declares that Obito is stronger than he, which both Hiruzen and Toby affirm, as Madara prepares his own trump card, hoping that Obito did not notice him before then, meaning Obito can stop him completely in completing his trump card. And Uchimaru, we know that everything he does is for his enters, and all he cares about is his immortality. Trent Low Manga, appreciate the comments. First comment, okay. Madara's awareness but calm demeanor speaks volumes about his perfect Susanoo, and his next plan, which may consist of Sharingan Rinnegan control, but I feel it's something else. Juubito, still incomplete, looks as if he ripped Tobirama to Edo dust, lol, but struck Hashirama wood clone. I do believe, though, I did notice the difference in material from that. That was odd. And the statement's already been made. That is interesting. The only person that's ever been able to tell is Madara from which is which. So it's possible that the first is actually somewhere else. Doing what? I don't know. So he could have his own thing. I don't know. But anyway, I do believe, it's a good point, good point. I do believe that the war needs Uchimaru, but I didn't even know, he's the only one. I had to say the first is the only one that didn't just fall to pieces. Like, it looked like pieces of wood getting scattered. That but anyway, okay. I do believe the war needs Uchimaru, but he's not going to show up there. I love how the overpowering alliance is now facing diminishing hope. Anyone notice the Rinnegan symbol on Juubito's back? Anyone notice? Okay. A lot different than Rikudo's symbol. The Jubi didn't reach its final form before being absorbed. I wonder how Juubito will use it. That's still funny to me. The Sharingan Rinnegan. Awesome. Appreciate your comments. NWO for life. I agree, but I also see you're agreeing. You kind of Bob Nines. Let me read that one first. I think one of the only reasons that Kishi and Obito pretend to be Madara all the time is because otherwise his true identity would have been too easy for people to guess. Looking back, he probably shouldn't have given him the spiral mask with one eye hole for the right eye. At that, he had another Sharingan, even if it wasn't his. The mask should have had both holes so fewer people would guess. I often questioned his identity as Madara then, but often went back and forth with the Juubito thing. And NW Order for Life is responding. I agree, but I also feel like he hasn't changed drastically since removing the mask. He still has his one-liners, his cruelty, and pretty much everything he did as Toby. It's just that who we thought was Madara never actually acted like a Uchiha Madara. He was acting like Obito all along. Okay. And NW Order for Life. Oh, that's a good point. Hey, Rampage, did you ever think we'd live to see the day where Hashirama declares that Obito Uchiha is stronger than him? That is pretty freaking crazy. I mean, what a wild ride we are. Like I say, we're at the end of one chapter and the beginning of another where Obito is a human sacrifice to resurrect Madara, and then he's the Jubi, and now the Jinchuriki of the Jubi, and now he's on a rampage. So yeah, things could, but things could quickly turn against him too. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. And I think all the way back, part one, where people argued left and right about whether Obito survived some rocks falling on him. And look at where we are now. Surreal, isn't it? That little boy is now the most powerful character. It's a thing of beauty. 5 years fighting with people about Obito surviving and being Toby. Vindication is sweet, my friend. It's so sweet. Well, hey, you know what? More power to you. You got to feel great about that. I thought it was Kagami. Okay, that's how far off I was. And as a villain, you find out that Kagami was a hero. You know, to even the second Hokage. So I wasn't wrong. I was beyond wrong. Okay, that all the way through. So if you're right, feel awesome about it, and I feel good for you too. All right, let's see. Okay. All right, Conley Bob 9. I want the second theory to be true, where Obito's really dead, and it's just a Zetsu with his implanted memories. That would be pretty neat if Kishi can pull it off. Probably can. I appreciate you giving some kind words to it. I like the idea. Probably not gonna. Kishi has Obito's other eye, which caused him to take on some of his traits, which would mean that he was someone suspected. I'm just going to skip the word. To the same corruption. Susceptible. Yet it seems he was never remotely tempted, even at losing Rin. So I suppose that in a way, this may not be the true Obito. But that's just a theory for now. The whole Rin thing it's still killing me. Every week the Rin thing is still killing me. I don't have completion with it. Is she going to be brought back up? Is this just something that's going to, is she just on the periphery of something that happened before and help to spark? Bringing her back would help give me some completion here. If she serves some purpose other than just as the spark that set it off. I don't know why it bothers me so much, but it does. And then reading from the other top half of the comment that I already read, or half of the comment from Colin Bob 9. So Obito got exactly what he wanted. But the power was too much control, and his mind is now buried. As the Masked Man said to Naruto, I am no one. I don't want to be anyone. Obito became so warped that he didn't care who he was, and now his identity really has been stripped away from him. And then the comment part of this comment already read. I'm going to move on to the next part. As for bad as Obito is, he might still be taught jutsu yet. He was practically begging for it in his talks with Naruto. Yes, he was. So it could still happen if his mind resurfaces or whatnot. One theory on what might happen goes back to what Rampage said about the Bijus evolving into more human forms. What if Obito is the human aspect that they need for this? Say Naruto reaches through to his remaining humanity and he sacrifices himself. That is brilliant. That is, what you're saying is brilliant, because if anybody could get in there to talk to him, it'd be Naruto. We could have a rather serious Naruto-Obito discussion that Obito, as you've said yourself, wants to have. Facilitated by the Bijus themselves. Talk about hacking on the inside, and Naruto could get in there, at least for discussion. That's awesome. That's awesome. Just awesome. Let me see if I can get back to where I was. Awesome job there, Collie Bob 9. Okay. Say Naruto reaches through his remaining humanity and he sacrifices himself, transferring his humanity into the beast and transforming him. That would be interesting. That would be interesting. Motivate. I don't know. That's something I'd have to think through more thoroughly. I like the idea, though. I think it's possible that either Naruto or Obito will be the human aspect that needed to transform the beast. And if Obito ends up sacrificing his life to do so, then in a way he'll live on within the new Bijus, his essence at any rate. And so in a way he'll get what he wanted in his desires to bring peace. Naruto's not going to live forever to maintain the peace in the world, but the 9 Bijus will forever remain like gods to keep the world in line. Well, remember, they're going to get, well, maybe, but I just don't think they're going to be I think they're going to be human-like. I don't think they're going to be these powerful beings anymore, so they'll be able to live out, I think they'll be human. They'll be able to just go ahead and maybe not just normal humans, but maybe they'll just be, powerful ninja that'll be able to live out their lives. Or maybe they just will be normal people. I don't know. And let's see. Moving on. Let's see. KH Mixer X has a few comments. Okay. I feel like I need to clarify the point I made about last chapter on Madara not really being a villain. I meant that I think he's only came back to bring everyone together. In other words, his return would act as a catalyst for the Shinobi Alliance. Remember, at heart, Madara wanted peace just as much as Hashirama. I disagree with you there. Doesn't mean I'm right. I disagree with you. I think he bought into Hashirama's plans for his own purpose. So I like where you're going with this. So let me just keep reading what you're saying. Okay, they just went about achieving it in different ways. It makes sense when you think about it. Never has he once shown any concern in any of his plans being foiled, and I'm not buying that he was naive enough to be tricked by Obito's hand signs. To be honest, it doesn't really make sense for Madara to be evil. Excuse me. The only thing that he's shown interest in since his return is fighting Hashirama. And just chalk that up to a rivalry. Every other motive he's had has been met with half-assed, lackadaisical attitude. I'm telling you right now, this guy is not a villain. Sorry if I sound like a broken record, but I really believe in this. And I guess the trump card he has might be to put the argument to rest, depending on what it is. Great review, by the way. And as a side note, has anyone else noticed how much Juubito resembles Kabutochimaru combined, I'm assuming. Let's see. I like the way you laid this out, even if I disagree with a lot of it. It's laid out very well. And actually, I can even add, it's laid out so well that I can even add some stuff to support what you're saying, even if I still think that he's narcissistic villain. But we've already been through these discussions before, so I'll make this really short. The whole thing of him showing, which a lot of people get to, is the tablet to Hashirama, which was his way to say that simply being nice and bringing people together this way won't bring the peace that we need. So he's going to do it his own Danzo style way. He's going to go the evil route to try to bring good, which is basically what I think you're saying. Okay, and even to add even more to that, he didn't try to kill the Kages. Okay, to begin with, it wasn't until he was kind of pushed that he then went at him. So he has shown some ability, and he, to pull back, and not simply destroy stuff. As a matter of fact, I can't remember which Kage it was, but he even fought him when he was younger, and he just held back, and just because he was a kid, he didn't Tsuchikage, I think it was. But anyway, so that would go along with your theory. I still think he's a narcissist and he's a villain, but I like the way you laid it out. I really do appreciate your comments. All right, Mr. Marcus. To be honest, I hate Juubito, or whatever his name will be next. This guy has caused so many people pain, it's ridiculous. Him and Madara, Sasuke, all have two things in common. One, they're all idiots. And two, they're all Uchihas with huge issues. The only one out of the three that I really feel for is Sasuke. His story has more validation out of the three of them. Madara and Juubito are just simply head cases for the most part. Anyway, great review, Steve. I hate those damn Uchihas. I can already hear Obito now. He's not happy to hear that. But anyway, I appreciate your comments. Yeah. I mean, you could even go to the extent is you wouldn't have a series, but would the world be better if there were no Uchihas and Senju battling? That could be an argument for that. But anyway, it wouldn't be very interesting to read, would it? All right, appreciate the comments. Lumpy Rocks. I'm pleased that the Ten Tails now has a controlled body. He's more dangerous, is in control, and communicate and talk. Hopefully, we get some dialogue as to how the Ten Tails is feeling right now. I hope that Obito stays possessed, actually. Can't wait for the Kages to show up and for Madara's secret weapon. Okay. Alright, that sounds pretty good. Appreciate your comments. Is no good. I think Naruto needs some power-ups right now. He is useless, just like Sasuke. There are too many gods on the battlefield. I wonder about Madara's trump card. If it's Rin, then it will only be useful to help Obito get control over the Jubi, because now I don't think he is in control. If we recap the situation, we have all four Hokages at the battlefield fighting two enemies that are stronger than them, so I think that something big is going to happen in the next chapter to reverse the situation. The thing about Naruto is that he is a child of prophecy who will stop the masked man, Obito, and he is the masterpiece that Jiraiya and Pain were talking about. But right now, I don't see a logical answer how Naruto is going to stop them. He is the main character after all. It's too much focus on the characters at the moment, in my opinion, and Naruto is kind of staying back waiting for something to happen. Like has already been discussed before, he can get in there and should be able to have a nice discussion via the bijous to Obito. So I think that's going to happen, and that should happen. That would be awesome. What an awesome potential there. Okay, and DT Ninja 831. As I mentioned, you already. I don't think I read your part of it yet. You basically are saying the same thing about the eye. Let me go ahead and start reading your comments. I get the feeling Madara's trump card is part of himself. Here's the comment that I'm looking for. He can activate at will. If the Dark Zetsu was powerful to restrict him before, I see he can bring Obito to his knees once again. Maybe he implanted a failsafe within his own eyes to screw him in the end. Now, I don't remember if I think I just commented on it. But anyway, now I for sure, I've either just read it twice or or for the first time there. But the eye thing is pretty awesome. And you continue on. What an amazing chapter. Obito is transformed into a superior being of awesome strength and ability, able to rip through even the greatest of shinobi. His power is very impressive, but this all seems like a trap to me. Madara is too resourceful to let Obito outsmart him. After all, it's not always the strongest fighters who triumph. Nice review and keep up the good work. Really do appreciate it. Awesome comments. And the eye thing, that's a big focus. You know, we all know there's, as it's been explained, there's so many ways that evidently they can be programmed. So we'll see what happens there. All right. Mr. M.K. Curtin. The Zetsus, you say the Zetsus don't keep memories. I think he's going to control Toby like he controlled the Nine Tails and how Toby controlled the Three Tails. We will see. But whatever it is, like I say, it's been mentioned by other people. It's something that he's afraid of getting countered or recognizing or seeing. So whatever it is, he has to use it before it can be countered. Oh, and here's a good point. Genosaur brings up that Hashirama, Tobirama trained Hiruzen. Hiruzen trained Jiraiya. Jiraiya trained Minato. Minato trained Kakashi. And Kakashi trained Naruto. Bingo. Good points. And let's see. Okay. Okay, I want to read this, but I'm... Okay, well, I'm just going to read this. It's a little confusing to me. Okay, so these are comments. I guess I've already read Trent Luenga's other comments. Okay, but anyway, I'm just going to read this. Okay. I stated back in one of the early 1600 review about Madara taking all focus to unite the ninja world. You saw it clearly when Madara took Hashirama's Sharingan's hut to repeat the tablet. Okay, we've already kind of discussed this, the whole thing about him being, but basically Madara not being a bad guy. There's that discussion we've kind of had already. And let's see. Alright, I'm going to actually skip through for time. I'm going to go ahead and skip through. Good comments, but I'm just going to kind of skip through a few things for time here. And let's see. And here we go. Chaz Malakian, which I'm actually going to make the second to the last comment or the last comment. Let's see here. I'm going to make yours the last comment, Chaz Malakian. And let's see. South Dallas 20. I have a feeling Kakashi will get part of the Ten Tails power too. I read the chapter. Oh, that's correct. That is so the idea of them sharing. How does that work? Okay, now we know that an ability that awakens in Obito, we know that it awakened. I mean, they were in proximity. Somebody else wasn't in another dimension. So that's a question. Okay, and then is it just that eye's ability, which I think it is. Okay, other abilities that are not about the eye don't seem to go to Kakashi. I don't know. That would be. I don't know. It's an interesting point. Let me continue reading on. I read this chapter that the jutsu that Obito used to absorb the Ten Tails seems to be connected to his Sharingan. The scene had his Sharingan warping power, so maybe Kakashi is also connected to their dimensional powers as well. It depends on what the rules are, but it's a very good point. I really do appreciate you bringing that up. And then this is Chaz Malakian's prediction, which will be the last of the comments for this viewer comments for this week. Of course, there'll be viewer comments next week. Every week that we get a Naruto chapter. Okay, Chaz Malakian, my prediction for soon. I think that there will be a fight between two sages of the Sixth Path, Naruto and Obito. That battle will. Well, anyway, I'm gonna let you and then I'll make my comments. Obito will have the Beast Chakra minus 8 and 9. Naruto will have the Beast Will power combined with the Nine Tails. And when Obito is almost defeated, that's when Madara will step up and do what he saved as a last resort to save himself if it happens. I hope you remember where you heard it first. Can't wait to see your reviewer comments, see Rampage's take on the discussion here. Somebody that we've left out, is Minato. We've left out Minato's angle on this whole thing. So we've got him, as a tailed beast, Ito. Wow. That's pretty crazy. So he's a factor. Minato is still a factor in this. And so what's Minato going to do? Because his connection. Okay. This is more and more possibilities. More and more Minato. More and more and more possibilities. So we could have a nice discussion in Bito's mind with Naruto and Minato. Although Minato doesn't have the same connections that Naruto does. So he's just gonna... But anyway, okay, you get the idea. All these possibilities. This is what makes Naruto so awesome. I'm truly gonna miss the series when it's over, because even though sometimes it's pissed us off, it's given us so much to talk about, and that is just so freaking awesome. And I appreciate everyone's comments and everyone's efforts. So I do skip over comments. There's a randomness to the whole thing that I do here. Sorry, doesn't mean your comments aren't worth hearing. Some things I just do for time, or if I've already covered that subject, I may or may not read it again. So anyway, you get the idea. So this is all about having fun. There's a lot of randomness to it. Don't take too much into it. And yeah, all right. Anybody can be an anime fan. And I mean that. Anybody can be an anime fan. You can always subscribe. You can always unsubscribe. You can do anything you want to. Until next time, take care.